Two common ways teachers make their own video content are through screencasts and by narrating presentations. In this video, I will focus on tips for creating accessible video content using presentation software like PowerPoint or Keynote, as well as with YouTube. We will begin by addressing accessibility for dual-channel learners, meaning those who will access your video with both their visual and auditory senses. There are several research-supported principles for designing multimedia that can reduce the cognitive load for all of your learners. This can be especially important when considering your students with learning disabilities. I'll synthesize some of those multimedia learning principles in the form of tips for video creation. Tip 1. Accessible video content is chunked into brief segments. While there is no exact length that is deemed accessible, consider keeping videos to around 8 to 10 minutes. Shorter videos of around 4 to 5 minutes may be helpful for our youngest students. Longer videos, up to around 20 minutes, may also work for older students, but if you use longer videos, you may want to integrate them with other technologies that allow you to break up the video with active learning prompts or questions to help keep your students engaged throughout. One way you can keep your videos brief is by scripting them in an advanced outline rather than by narrating on the fly. This will help keep your content focused and will make adding closed captions easier later on. Tip 2. After you script your video, create slides that contain simple visuals and only key words. For dual-channel learners, adding too much text on the screen increases the cognitive load, which is a barrier to learning. And because humans are limited in the amount of information they can process at once, keep those keywords near the visuals and present them at the same time so the brain can process the image and text together. Tip 3. If your visuals are complex, try using basic animation features to provide attentional cues for your viewers that may circle, highlight, or point to specific parts of the image as you talk about them. My final tip for dual-channel learners is about the quality of your voice when narrating. A human voice with a conversational tone is recommended to improve learning with multimedia. When reading your script, refrain from trying to slow down and speak quieter just because you aren't actually talking to real people. Allow your script to let your personality shine through. Videos should not sound like a formal essay. And when you read your script aloud, project like you do in the classroom. This will help reduce the white noise that happens when students have to turn up the volume too high in order to hear you. Now let's build on this for viewers who may be single-channel learners, meaning they use either only their hearing or only their vision to access your videos. It is essential that you keep a few additional considerations in mind for accessibility for your single-channel learners. For those who access video content primarily through audio, the clarity and precision of your narration is essential for accessibility. For example, if I'm teaching about addition, I don't want to say, "So as you see, when we add these two numbers, we get a sum of 14. A person who accesses through only auditory channels will be left confused about what the two addends are. This brings us to tip 5. Before you record your video, you should do a read-through of your script to revise any ambiguous language that requires the visual for understanding. For learners who access video primarily through visual channels, the addition of closed captioning can make your content accessible. Please note, this is different from just putting the script directly on the slides to begin with. Always having those captions posted is called open captions. And for dual-channel learners, this can be a barrier to learning because it increases cognitive load. This is why we prefer to use closed captioning that can be turned on and off. One of the easiest ways to add closed captioning is to upload your video to YouTube. If you don't want your video to be publicly searchable, use the unlisted designation for the privacy setting. This will only allow those with your link to be able to view your video. Once you upload your video, YouTube has an auto-captioning feature that is fairly accurate. It takes a few minutes to a few hours for the captioning to appear, depending on the length of your video. Once the auto-captioning appears, you can go in and edit those captions to correct any errors and add punctuation. This will make it easier for your viewers to understand. If you do not have the time to add closed captioning right away, you can also provide your learners with a separate copy of the script you wrote for the video. Please keep in mind, though, this should not be your go-to solution because this is much less accessible than closed captioning. When using a transcript, learners who primarily access content through visual channels will lose the benefit of seeing the images and narration together if they have to switch between the video and the document you provide. If this is your only option, you're better off providing a printout of the slides with a transcript below them so the learners are only looking at one single document. Following these basic tips can help you create video content for teaching that is accessible to as many learners as possible in your classroom from the start.